What we're going to do, we're going to reinforce the bush hog. This is a SQ84T machine. And our problem that we have is that you can see right here and right here, the whole thing is cracking. This has already been welded a time before. And on this side, it's been welded here and welded here, and already starting to crack again all the way to here. And then on this side, this was welded and just used it and it ripped again all the way from here down. So all of this needs to be repaired and reinforced. So that's what we're going to do today. First, we're just going to clean this up before we even bend everything back to normal. Now we got to determine basically where the center is, because we're going to use a 2x2 angle. That's 46, so half of that is 23. So go to 23 and mark it. We're going to take the metal, go from here, wrap it, which is 48. We're going to make it 64. So we need a piece that's 64 times 2. So that's 128 inch. We're going to use a 2x2 inch angle. And that's what we're going to do now is cut that. Then we're going to have to beat this metal here all straight, because it is bent fairly decent. And a bush hog does make the deck fairly thick, so that's going to take a little effort to do. So we're going to do that in just a second. Okay, here we go. We're going to cut this at 128 inches, and we're going to use a 2x2 piece of steel. I'm not sure. I think it's 3/16 thick or a 1/4 inch. One of the two. It's just something I had laying around. Okay, now we're going to make another mark. So we're going to make it 68 inches, which is here. This is just the mark where the center is. For the moor deck. So there's the center. So we're going to match that up to the center of the moor deck and then weld this to it straight to the front. Okay, here's the center of the deck. Here's the center. This is going to end up going like that. Is where the piece of metal is going to go. What we're going to have to do is straighten this chunk of metal. It's so bent, I can't weld an angle iron to it until you get it straight. I took a 2" by 2" angle iron. I put it underneath here and then put the clamps on it. This is straight, this is straight, this is all bent. Just heat it up, because remember this metal's not touching the angle iron, so we can get that hot. The dent starts right here and ends right here, so that's where we're going to work. That should be hot enough. You should take a mini sledge to do this with, which I can't find mine, so I got to use this instead. Just act like you're mad at your wife and you can get this done fast. So we got to heat this up a little more. Got it pretty level already. So we're going to take the angle iron and drop it down out of the way just to finish it up. It's almost there. Just a little bit now. It's only got about 3 inches. That's bad. The rest of it's already flat. Probably work right there. So that's pretty good. That's enough to clamp the 2x2 angle iron onto it to get ready to weld. So the next thing we're going to be doing is grinding all the way down so get rid of the paint so the angle iron will match it up so a clean weld. Okay, now we're getting ready to weld. We grinded the paint off. We got the 2" by 2" angle clamped to the metal all the way across the back side, and it's getting prepared to weld now. You got to make sure you got the paint off and you got to clean steel to steel where it's grinded so that you can get a clean weld. And we're going to weld the top and the bottom side here. After that, this piece here gets cut and then bent to this side, and then it gets cut again, and then this here will be on the outside, so we got to cut this at an angle like this on both sides. So we're going to cut those now, and then we're going to start welding. The welder we're going to use is a Hobart welder, and it's a wire feed welder, and uses mixed gas. And it does a real good weld, because who welded this before didn't weld very good, had a lot of pockets in it. So that's what we're going to do. So first thing we're going to do is cut the ends to get that out of the way. It's easier to do it now than when it's welded already up. So we're just going to use a cut-off saw, and then we're going to cut this at an angle. Okay, we got this cut at an angle here. This gets wrapped around so that when you're mowing, things don't get caught onto it. So this is cut on both ends now, so that's ready to go. So the next thing we're getting ready to do is start welding. Now we're going to get ready to weld the seam here and underneath, all the way down And I'm just going to start welding, and no use to take a picture of me welding. Everybody knows how to weld. So we'll get, after we get this section done, then I'll start the video back up. Okay, we have it welded on the top, and underneath we ended up doing spot welds because we want to flip the whole thing over to do a better weld on it. Next, we're at this joint. What we're going to do is cut right here, and on the other side do the same thing. So we're getting the cut-off wheel ready. Okay, do the same thing here. Okay. Now this gets bent. Oh, we got to grind this down before you bend this in. But right now you should be able to just bend this, and it should tear there after we heat this up. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to grind all this paint off, and that'll be the next step. Okay, now we're getting ready to bend this angle around this corner. So what we got to do, heat it up. If you have an oxygen acetylene torch, this most definitely go much faster. And now we're going to bend it real snug to the other piece so that when it cools, it knows exactly where to go. Okay, there's a nice bend here where it straps right to the corner, and it's going to go straight here. It's perfectly against the metal to this point, which I have to, from this point on, I have to straighten up when I do this next curve. But now this section here is ready to weld and get that done. And the other side's the same way, so I'll only be showing the one side. Okay, we got this welded. Now we're on the last corner here. We got to cut it here and then bend that around just like we did on the other side. Still backwards. Now we're going to heat up the metal just like we did before and bend it to the other side. Okay, so that piece of metal's in place. Now I got to grind the paint off of it so I can do a weld. When I was cutting, I kind of cut into that metal there, so I'm going to have to hit a weld on it too to strengthen it up. I was on accident. And that's about it on this one. And the other side's done the same way. And I'll do some more video of it as soon as I get it totally complete to show you what the final results is.
And then the corners and start kind of looks like a little piece of steel in it and just put a weld them both together and each one of these corners. So now it's all over like this. And everything. And pretty well done with it. I just got done painting it. It started getting around finisher on the deck and everything. I pressure combed it with a pressure cleaner, high pressure, washed it with heat, and got all that loose metal into the coat of paint just to make it run. I got one more thing I want to do to it. I'm going to sprinkle clean in it. And then pop the seal right here, so I'm waiting for the part to put it in. And I'm all done with this project. Thank you for watching. And then we'll be on the next project soon.